very high expectations. And I've waited literally years to get my hands on a pair of Pro Gauntlets. Do they live up to the hype? Well, let's find out. Unfortunately, humans are not built as robust as orcs. In fact, our delicate fingers are built more like pixies. So for something as impactful as armed martial arts, we need a good amount of protection. Over the years, I've had a lot of gloves and gauntlets for historical martial arts practice. Anything from motorcycle gloves, which, by the way, don't even think about for anything other than the lightest technique drills, to custom-made steel gauntlets. And it's always the same thing. You generally have to choose between protectiveness and mobility/comfort. But then the Pro Gauntlets came along and promised both. They've been in development for a long time, being engineered from the ground up, working with experts. Well, was the wait worth it? Here's my impression so far. All right, let's see how these work out. So first, the artificial test, so to speak. You don't normally get hit in the outstretched hand, but hey. Yep. With the fingers, not the inside, but yeah, side. Yeah, nothing. That's all fine. Yep. Hand on the sword. Okay. Yep. I would definitely feel this more on most other gloves. Like the way it is, like I can feel the shock traveling through it, but it doesn't hurt. Let me just switch to this side, so the inside of the gauntlet is visible. Yep. On the pinky, you can definitely feel it more. Like it, I wouldn't even say hurts yet, but it's uncomfortable, but that's it. I definitely feel that more. Yep. With a powerful cut, this would definitely hurt, but
yeah, that's only moderate. You know.
I don't think it could break anything. Yep. Yeah, that was right on this finger here, and that was totally fine. Let's see if you can thrust in here. Shouldn't really be able to, but yep. Yep, this does not go in. So this works perfectly fine with the knuckle guard. One thing I'm noticing is it slides a little bit because the inside of the glove doesn't have as much traction as either the hand or some other gloves. So I do feel it shifting around a little bit, but depending on the type of hilt, it's not really going to slide out of it. This I really didn't expect to work, but it actually fits. That's quite impressive. It locks the hand into a certain position, so I can't really shift it around, but arguably that's a good thing. So that works. Like this ring here pushes down on the knuckle guard a little bit, but it's really not a problem. And if I adjust a little bit, that's fine. The only thing is, cutting is a little bit more awkward, but I always find cutting with a finger over the guard is more awkward than without, so there's that. On to some light free play. Do not do this without fencing masks. If you don't have the experience needed to fully control your movements and distance, you can get seriously hurt. This contact with the flat, I didn't feel at all. I'm doing it wrong. We need hand hits on the Pro Gauntlets, not the Spez ones. They definitely feel really good when moving them around. I mean, these are not made for my measurements, so it's never going to be 100% perfect. For that, in fact, I've literally had gauntlets made that fit worse than this, which were made to my measurements. So these fit almost like custom made, essentially, which is quite impressive. No. If you want to count that as a drawback, these are so protective that it can be hard to feel light hits. Why did I agree to this? Single hand versus two hand. Ah, yes. Good. That was really good. Like, in protection, I mean. Like, I could feel it, but not in any uncomfortable way.
That wasn't soft either.
No. Oh, good. Awesome. Yeah, nice. Stabbed. Let me actually get something a little better. Why not? Haha. I don't know what I was thinking there. That was stupid.
No, you were baiting me with that hand, but...
Yeah, I wasn't actually doing anything to defend myself.
Got me.
Yeah, got the fingers. Ah, yes. Nice follow-up.
You nicked my arm though.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to complete that. Ah, I did not catch that completely. So I consider this a first impressions type video rather than a full review for the simple reason that I'm missing one important part of the performance, which is long-term durability. I can't make statements about that yet because I just got them recently. So this is all about protectiveness and comfort so far. And in that regard, they're working really nicely. By the way, this is not sponsored monetarily, but they did send these for free for me to review. So there's a potential for bias, although at the same time I also don't have the buyer's bias, you know, where in hindsight you spend a lot of money, so you really want something to be good because you don't want to have wasted money. So there can be bias either way. But I'm very happy with these so far. That's definitely what I can say. They are easily the most well-designed gauntlets I've ever encountered. They're easily the best in terms of mobility versus protection. They can't quite compete with, you know, a full mitten style steel gauntlet. Just fingered gloves will never be able to offer quite as much protection as these because they just spread the impact over a larger surface area. It's just plain physics. However, this is as close as you can get, in my opinion, for fingered gauntlets, because this eliminates some of the common problems of fingered gauntlets. For example, the risk of thrusts entering in between fingers, which is not very likely, but if it were to happen, would be devastating, obviously. The Pro Gauntlets have solid pieces in between the fingers and also the sturdy fabric cover, which prevents that. You know, thrust really can't go in between the fingers and cause damage that way. Also crucial, the fingertips are fully enclosed. Not all gauntlets do that. Some cover the back of the finger basically, but not the very tip. Lacrosse gloves are also terribly vulnerable on the fingertips and the sides as well. The thumb and all fingers are completely covered. And they've designed the different areas of the gauntlets based on how much force they need to be able to withstand. For example, the knuckles here on top are reinforced. They are particularly thick and sturdy because you can imagine strikes on there are more likely. And if you were to break these knuckles, that would be rough time, to say the least. Also, the base of the thumb is reinforced, which is also quite vulnerable. In my experience, when it comes to protection, there's no such thing as 100% guarantee. Even the Spez heavy gauntlets, which have been the gold standard in the HEMA community for many years, I've received some pretty painful hits on those, depending on the force and the angle, things like that. So nothing's ever 100% perfect. But I generally expect these to do very well in most situations, really. You don't want somebody who goes full ham on you anyway. If you can't trust your training partner to have a reasonable amount of control over their strikes and how much power they put in, then they shouldn't be your training partner, straight up. What I also like about this design is that it's modular. So if any particular part cracks or breaks, you can remove it and replace it. The inner glove is made of Dyneema, which is a high-strength, cut and pierce-resistant polyethylene fiber covered in a layer of black polyester. The glove is reinforced in crucial areas, and it's got padding to prevent your thumb from being crushed between the opponent's blade and the handle of your sword. They are not integral, unlike this, for example. Here the inner glove is stitched in and can't be removed that easily. A lot of gloves and gauntlets have the inner glove riveted to the outer shell, so this is quite nice. As far as the size is concerned, these are size large, and normally I wear size medium gloves. But when I first put these on, they actually seem kind of tight on the fingers, on the sides. Not so much anymore, so it seems like they do break in. I can tell that my fingers are not quite as long as would be ideal on these. Like sometimes they start to slide down a little bit. They don't seem to come all the way out of the fingertips. That would be a big problem. But I can tell that this is designed for longer fingers. And I knew going by my measurements that medium would be what I ideally need. But these fit surprisingly well, considering that it's a size up. I also like how the cuffs are designed, offering very substantial protection and also excellent mobility. You can roll your wrist and flex in all kinds of ways. Mobility and flexibility are outstanding in these gauntlets. The way you can move your fingers is just right. Looks are, of course, irrelevant for the practical value, but I mean, just look at the things. There's some Dark Knight stuff here. The way they're designed, it's not only functional, but looks pretty metal. So far, what I like about these gauntlets is essentially everything. Excellent. With one exception, which is the wait time. The maker of these gauntlets, Crossguard, had to develop their own production method for these, and that took quite a while, until about late 2021. Since then, they've been able to upscale production, so things are running a lot more smoothly now, and you shouldn't have to expect such long delivery times anymore. There's also one other minor thing I've noticed just on the left gauntlet. Whenever I close a fist fully, this part right here slips out, which design-wise I can tell is not supposed to happen because there is a retention piece riding in the channel on the bottom piece that's supposed to catch at the end and prevent this kind of over-travel. This is most likely due to a size mismatch because, like I mentioned, my fingers are a little bit shorter than they should be for this size. Ideally, I would have a size medium. And in fact, the makers of the Pro Gauntlet Crossguard have offered to send me a medium-sized pair for more accurate testing as well. So what's likely happening here is that my finger joint is in the wrong position on this finger here and pushes up against that segment in a way that it shouldn't. And also, by the way, in a way that doesn't happen when I'm actually holding a sword. So this is really a non-issue because it only happens when I'm really balling a fist, like when I'm curling my fingers in more than usual, which is not what I can do when they're wrapped around a grip. I physically cannot close the fingers far enough around here to make this happen. So even though the size doesn't quite match me, when I'm actually using it while holding something, it's not an issue. Basically, I'm just including my overthinking here for the sake of completion. Proper sizing is of course crucial, considering that everybody's hands are quite a bit different. They're currently finishing the size medium for these, and they're also finalizing the design of the small. So the small size should be available for pre-sale later in summer, they say, and the medium size should be available pretty soon, if it's not already, depending on when you're watching this. Also worth pointing out is that Crossguard offers impressively extensive service. They offer free repair service for anyone who buys a pair of these for 1 year. So they will do things like send a kit of spare bands or replacement parts for repair and give you a video tutorial. And if you have serious issues, you can send the gauntlets into the headquarters where they repair them within 2 weeks or send you replacement gauntlets. They still do that after the first year, by the way, just in that case, fees apply. So based on my impression so far, are the Pro Gauntlets worth the wait? Abso-frickin-lutely, if you can't tell already. These are everything I was hoping for. Price might be a bit of an entry barrier, but how much are your hands worth? That's the other question. Anyway, hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to test the mobility of your thumb, if you know what I mean. And thanks for watching. Have a good one, folks. Rock on.